Hello, everybody. This is Aidan Kelly from Kelleyto.com here at San Diego Comic-Con, and we have a very, very special guest here today, a pop culture and horror icon who requires no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. The most fabulous, the most groovy, Mr. Bruce Campbell.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me in this amazing scenario.
Absolutely.
San Diego Comic-Con, the mother of all Comic-Cons.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know you're very, very familiar with the con scene, and I got to imagine San Diego's got to be one of your favorites.
Well, it's challenging because, you know, if you actually go out onto the floor, I mean, it's elbow to elbow. If you're claustrophobic, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to have it back, though.
Absolutely.
That's the most important. It's back.
Yeah, last year was an unusual one with the strikes, and I believe there actually is a new strike.
Those actors had to go striking and mess everything up.
Yeah, no, it's I know video games are now going through the same thing. I believe starting today, they're now doing a video game strike. So.
Well, they should.
Absolutely, I
Get
agree.
the money, man, because everyone plays video games.
Yeah, for sure, and you have plenty of experience with that. Evil Dead, the game, you were just in the last Call of Duty, so it's very important. So I know you are making a very, very welcome return to the horror genre with the new Peacock original series, Hysteria.
Hysteria.
I know it's still very early days for the show, but I gotta wonder.
Oh, I can tell you all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff?
Yeah, they gave me they greenlit anything I wanted to say.
That's perfect.
Isn't that awesome?
I would really
It's a
want
new
to know.
show. That's what I can say.
Brand new show.
Yeah.
What drew you
No,
to
that's
the
it.
project? That's it? Sweet.
I'm kidding. You know what? It's the category is hard to say. It's horror, but it has a sort of a quirky underpinning that really attracted me. And it's got a kind of a fascinating time period. It's the late 80s in Michigan, where I'm from.
Right.
And I play the chief of police. And I'll tell you what, at this point in my life, that's what I'm playing. I'm playing like prison wardens, chief of police. So it's good. It's good. And the words really got me. I mean, because horror, I get picky.
Right.
And this was really interesting. So I'm like, let's do it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned you play the police chief,
Yes.
Chief Dandridge.
Yes.
How does Dandridge differ from other characters you've played in the past?
How does Dandridge differ?
Ash Williams, for example.
Fewer chainsaws, shotguns. He's a man who uses his mind as much as his gun. You know what? He's a little bit of the anchor of this situation because it's about a small town in Michigan where weird shit happens and nobody knows what's happening, and they may or may not succeed.
Would you say he's more of the responsible type compared to the more gung-ho Ash
Are you
Williams?
saying that Ash was irresponsible?
No.
Yeah, you are. You were insinuating. He is irresponsible.
Yeah.
Ash is completely irresponsible.
You know, I mean, I
Ash
think-
does drugs before he goes into battle. I mean,
guess-
that's the way it works.
I guess getting high and then reading the Necronomicon wasn't the most
Right, because you're not going to do that shit straight.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine said, I go, what are you doing this Saturday? He goes, I'm mowing my lawn. And I go, well, okay. He goes, but I'm not doing that shit straight. It's the same theory. I'm not going to fight demons straight. But no, this chief of police is a very reliable character.
Interesting. It almost sounds like it's the opposite of Ash, specifically in season 2 of Ash versus Evil Dead, when he gets to his hometown and he's known as Ashy Slashy. Kind of almost sounds like the inverse.
Are you
of that
writing
situation.
something here right now? Another season of something?
Well, I may or may not have incled some questions.
I don't know that
about
there's parallels. It's hard to say.
I don't know. Yeah, but your contributions
The pundits like you can decide.
your contributions to Evil Dead obviously go well beyond just playing Ash Williams. You produced the wildly successful Evil Dead Rise. I know you and Sam Raimi have both expressed a lot of interest in doing a lot more Evil Dead on a more regular basis.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to be doing more projects in the future for Evil Dead that are more standalone and more anthology-based, like Evil Dead Rise?
Yes. Only because, you know, I'm kind of done playing Ash, and people have accepted other directors other than Sam Raimi. There's been 2 other directors, and they're both going on to have wonderful careers. Freddy is doing the new Alien movie. Not a bad little stepping stone, Freddy. So he's doing fine. And same with Lee Cronin. He's got a new deal with Warner Brothers to make a fabulous new movie. So we'll never get him again. But the audience accepts it. Because the thing that they want is they want the basic principles of Evil Dead. Crazy shit has to happen to innocent people who are not ready for it.
Absolutely.
That's the basic premise.
Well, to follow up
So
with
there's
that-
2 more coming, by the way.
2 more coming.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you also mentioned 2 years ago of Perry, you mentioned that you were interested in doing.
Are you quoting me from something 2 years ago that I said? I feel like a
Maybe.
politician now. 1987, you
It
said.
was 2 years ago. I think it was right.
What
exactly
did I
here.
say?
You mentioned you were considering making an animated Evil Dead series that may or may not have been a continuation of where Ash versus Evil Dead left.
That's still in play.
Still in play.
Yeah, still in play.
Very exciting. Is it going to be at Stars? I know that's your favorite.
Can't tell you that.
Okay.
Only because we don't know yet.
Oh, well, that's.
We're, what's the word? We're pitching.
Oh, okay. Well, it's great to hear that.
So you
that's in the
pitch it,
works.
you pitch your concepts, you see who lines up, and then you make it. But I would voice Ash. I should be clear about that. My voice has not aged as much as I have. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you mentioned before that voicing would be the way to go.
I can
for the
do that.
character.
I can do that in my little home in Jacksonville, Oregon.
Going back to Evil Dead Rise, a big component that made that movie so special was the brand new setting, going out of a cabin in the woods to a high-rise building.
Yeah.
If we're going more with the anthology for future installments, what would be a new setting or maybe even a new time period?
You're trying to trap me, man.
I mean, it doesn't have to be one coming
Bruce
up, just one
Campbell,
you'd
2
like to
years
see.
ago, you said it would take place on an ocean liner.
That would
Is
be
it?
cool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to find the next setting for it. But the answer is we are out of the cabin. You don't even have to do urban anymore.
Right.
This week, you can do a suburban Evil Dead very well. You know, like some little Levittown neighborhood that gets lit up. You know, so that's the challenge with each new one now because it's not the cabin. So it's a whole new opportunity, but it's also a whole new challenge.
Well, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I mentioned Sam Raimi earlier, who
Sam Raimi.
I imagine you're familiar with.
I've heard that voice.
You've heard it. You've heard of his name. And we got some really exciting news a few weeks back that he is going to be back in the directing chair for a brand new movie.
Well, you would think that ridiculous Doctor Strange movie made like $1 bazillion.
Yeah, you'd think that would be.
So get the man back in the chair.
Yeah, especially for a horror
Prop
project.
the old man up, get him back in the chair. Let's go.
Yeah, his last one was 2009's Drag Me to Hell, so that's going to be very exciting. It's titled Send Help, and it's still very, very early
Send
days.
Help.
But I got to wonder if you and Sam had any conversations about maybe.
Well,
appearing
that's
in it?
private. That's a private conversation that we've had.
Very fair.
But he is aware of the fact that he needs me to provide pivotal roles in his movie. It's not about big parts. It's about pivotal parts, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Small part in the first Spider-Man as the ring announcer, but I named the character.
What did you name him?
The Amazing Spider-Man. He wanted to be
Oh,
called
I
the
thought-
Human
okay.
Spider.
Right.
Get with the program here.
I thought you meant your.
Do you
own
understand
character.
pivotal now?
Absolutely.
Small, but pivotal. So he's working on the next pivotal role for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. You mentioned Spider-Man. Sam has also expressed
Yeah.
interest in making another Marvel movie after Multiverse of Madness. You have plenty of experience in superhero movies as well. One of my personal favorites, it's an early 2000s film, follows a teenager growing up and learning how to control his powers. Starts with an S. I'm, of course, talking about Sky High.
Sky High.
Absolutely
Yeah.
love
Oh, you're
that
the
movie.
perfect age for Sky High.
Yeah, I grew up watching
Oh,
the
yeah.
movie.
I run into
Love
you
it
guys
so
all the
much.
time. Hey, Sky High.
Yeah, yeah.
Sidekick. Hey.
Sidekick.
Yeah.
And there's been whispers of like a sequel or some sort of continuation occasionally making
Well,
it in the conversation.
that needs to be a TV series
I fully agree.
on Peacock.
Or Disney Plus, I believe. It's a Disney one, right?
On Peacock.
Okay.
I'm working for Peacock right now.
Oh, right. Yeah. Peacock. Sky High show coming to Peacock exclusive here.
It makes sense.
Makes
Because
perfect
Disney might just sell it to Peacock.
Right. That
You
makes
know,
sense.
it's all right.
Yeah.
They'll work it out. But
well,
that would be a good TV show because you're following high school kids, only they're superheroes.
yeah. I feel like, especially with how successful superhero movies are, like, I mean, people keep saying they're superhero fatigue. But,
I think for once you got a good idea.
well, to follow up with that, would you return as Coach Boomer?
Well, you know, so the stars have to align, but you never say never.
All right. Yeah. I feel
Because
like
it's Kurt Russell. I'd have to work with Kurt again
that's true.
for the third time.
Mm-hmm.
I work with his son, Wyatt,
Oh, yeah.
on Lodge 49.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I know all the Russells.
Yeah. You're a close family friend of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the original, going back to Evil Dead, the original film is so well known for being made in some pretty harsh conditions
Yes.
that you and Sam
Yes,
and
as
all the
harsh
rest of the
as
cast and
this.
crew. Yeah, pretty much exactly
Harsh.
this. And I feel like you've talked a lot about that, but I'm curious, what the most challenging on-set experience for you that was not on an Evil Dead project?
It's the stuff before I even got into the union or got into Evil Dead. I did spokesman stuff for the car companies. So like I have a training films that were like tongue twisters shit that you had to say, like McPherson strut suspension, because you're talking about cars, you're selling cars. And so I would train car salesmen how to sell cars. And the language that you had to memorize and say was impossible. None of it was like having a dialogue with someone in a kitchen.
Right.
I mean, that's easy compared to speaking that many words, and all of it is technical jargon. Right. Nightmare.
Yeah, I imagine that.
So yeah, the hardest crap I ever did was before Evil Dead.
I know you mentioned before that allegedly your brother has the shotgun from Evil Dead.
Brother Don.
Brother Don Campbell.
Hi, Don. He's not watching, so we can say whatever.
Okay, cool. Are there any collectibles or any stuff you've gotten on set that you've kept for yourself?
Well, let's keep going with Don.
Oh.
Don has the keys to the cabin.
You're kidding.
Don has the original skeleton keys to the cabin. Why the hell does he have them?
He has the shotgun
right?
and the keys.
Yeah. So that doesn't make any sense. Sam Raimi should have them. I should have something. He should have something. I never picked it up. Sometimes it's as simple as that. No one grabbed it. My brother probably went, huh.
Just found him on set and
shoved him in his pocket. But the keepsakes, I have really random stuff. I have a tchotchke shelf in my office, which is random things that only mean something to me.
Right.
And like from the movie Sundown, A Vampire in Retreat, right. I play Van Helsing. Mm-hmm. And there's a little shaker of the holy water. And they made this cool little bottle with a VH logo. So that's on my shelf. Wow. So I got that. Things that would mean nothing to anybody.
I think that makes them so much more special.
Totally.
Like, I think everyone knows the shotgun.
Everyone knows that.
It makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of hypothetical sequels, going back to Sky High here, you've talked before about the horror movie crossover that sadly never was, which was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which did become a comic book.
Yeah, it
never
did.
Became a movie.
It did.
So I'm curious, if that comic ever got a sequel, what other horror character would you throw into the mix?
Let's back up. I got to stop you. Okay, one, these ideas are creatively bankrupt. And I'll tell you why. Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. We had a 5-minute conversation with New Line. Do you realize that? Yeah. About making that movie. And we were told you cannot kill either one of them, and you cannot have any plot or any dialogue that affects the other characters, that only one company has control of this character, we can only control Ash. So your story has to be really convoluted and terrible, and Ash doesn't get to kill either one of them. Yeah, so we were like, so it's a silly concept.
Yeah, I feel like the stakes would be very different. I feel like that's a lot of problems with superhero movies.
It's too. Why is Batman? Hey, folks, I can ask this question because we're at Comic-Con. Why is Batman fighting Superman? Can we please stop that silliness? Because Superman would squash his head like a zit. In a nanosecond, he'd go from here to here. Your head is popped like a zit. Yeah. The story's over.
The counter argument is always, he's got kryptonite. It's like,
what, in his back pocket?
Yeah. It's like,
Batman's carrying it around. Hey.
Yeah, his whole rule is he can't kill, so he's not going to kill him.
Don't do that. And how many buildings can a superhero get punched through? The answer is a lot.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 had that problem too.
Spider-Man 3 did have that
There
problem.
were one too many villains.
One too many villains.
And one too many villains fighting in the middle of the air as they're falling down a building.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
In addition to movies, you've been a part of a lot of successful TV shows that have had a huge resurgence, including Suits, Burn Notice.
Yeah.
What's it been like seeing the response to those shows now as opposed to when they were originally released?
It was a good time for USA.
Yeah.
They were known as the Blue Sky shows. And they literally, our edict was you have to shoot outdoors. And Miami's a character of the show. So it was back at a time when USA had a very specific mantra. And all those shows were like that. And then it went dark. I mean, you can only maintain that for so long. But to me, it's representative of a time period when, everyone was kind of optimistic, making cool shows with people wearing cool clothes, driving cool cars.
Very fitting for you.
Here we are.
We know Suits is getting a brand new spinoff.
Yeah,
Burn Notice, again, still super popular. Would you consider returning to either of those franchises?
Give me a buzz, man. Heck yeah, Sam Axe in a second.
Oh,
in a
absolutely.
second. I know how to start it.
Absolutely. How would you start it?
I can't tell you, man. No, Sam would win he'd be in Key Largo winning the Hemingway look-alike contest with a big beard.
Right.
Because he's got nothing to do now. Drink beer, grow a beard, and imitate Hemingway.
Going back to TV again, going back to Evil Dead. All roads lead back to Evil Dead.
Yeah.
As we can see. Ash versus Evil Dead. You've talked about the reasonings behind why the show was canceled, but you've also talked about how the show has had such a resurgence in the age of streaming.
Sure.
Do you think if the show were released today, things would have gone a bit differently?
The fundamental thing, though, remains how do any of these people, these hundreds of thousands of people here, find a show? Like, how will they find Hysteria? And this is why we come to places like this, so we can scream from the highest hill, watch Hysteria. Because that's the challenge. There's a lot of material out there, and how do you find people? It's not about putting butts in seats. How do you get them to push that button? You know, and so that's the key. For us, we didn't feel that Stars was well known enough for people to even find it. And here's how it would go. Hey, great news. We're doing an Evil Dead TV show. Oh my God, that's awesome. What's it gonna be on? Stars. What Stars? And so you'd have this long pause. So anyway, they also ran a promo that our cheapskate fans took advantage of. 30-day free trial. They binge watched the entire series and canceled.
Oh,
Thank you, Comic-Con fans.
Oh, man.
So those are a couple of the factors.
Yeah.
Cheapskate fans can't find the show.
I imagine that's got to be a big component. But at least the show did have a fairly definitive
soon, man.
Yeah, we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask one more question. The show did have a fairly definitive ending with putting Ash in this post-apocalyptic scenario, which in some ways might seem like a tragedy, in other ways might be the perfect environment for him. What do you think, without getting too much into the animated one, because I know that is still in the works, what do you think Ash is doing right now at this moment?
Ash is living the best life in the future with a hot robot chick, laying waste to the Evil Dead. I mean, we knew we were going to get canceled. It was that simple. And we went, we better do something. We better give him something. You can't just end it, Ash, running off into the sunset. So we felt that we had offered up a good enough, don't worry about Ash, he's going to be fine in the future kind of ending. That's what we thought.
And that's great that you had the opportunity to at least.
It is, because sometimes you don't even have that. Shows get canceled in the off season.
Exactly, yeah.
Not this one, but other shows.
Right. Well, your next show, Hysteria, is coming soon, exclusively to Peacock. Be on the lookout for it.
Subscribe now, by the way. You can get the Olympics, watch the Olympics, and just keep it.
Yeah, Those Who Are About to Die. That's another one on there. Be sure to get it. Be sure to tune into Kelleyto for more updates for Hysteria and more updates to San Diego Comic-Con. Bruce, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Amazing.